Well, hello everyone and welcome to the first ever live show of Voice Essentials Live. My name is Dr. Dan, I'm a contemporary singing voice specialist and I'm a little bit nervous about this morning's show, this being the very first one. I've never done this sort of live thing before, but I'm really hoping that today's show is going to be exciting, and I've designed it so that we keep moving at a really fast pace, that it's not just going to be a chit-chat, though I've got a good friend and one of my students actually who we are going to have a bit of a chat with later on in the show, and we've got some live song reviews coming up. But for those of you who don't know me, I'm an Australian singing voice teacher, a singing voice specialist, so I work with singers right through from amateur right through to professional and touring singers, and it's my great privilege in life to accompany singers on their journey of vocal development. It's something that I get a lot of joy from, and I am, as you may already know, very passionate and enthusiastic about it. And so I'm so glad you could join us for today's very first live show. You are a part of history, and I'm hoping to do these on a not infrequent basis. To start with, we're going to do it on a monthly process, and hopefully, I'm just going to learn as I go. And I'm trying not to do it too simply as well. We're going to have multi-cameras, and I'm going to do some exercises with you, and just really dig deep. It's something that can't really be done in simple 5-6 minute videos, but it just allows me the opportunity to really dive deep in. And how I'm going to try to fit the show into a 30-minute segment. I said to my wife this morning and that it may go over that today because I don't really know how long the show will take, but we're going to aim for 30 minutes. So I hope you can stick around, enjoy the full length of the show and the variety that we've got coming up for you. And make sure you leave some comments, make sure you let everyone know where you're from. So for example, this morning it is 7 a.m. here in Brisbane, Australia. We're on the eastern seaboard of Australia, and so I've been up since, I got up very early for you all this morning. I hope you appreciate that. I am not a morning person, but I felt that this would be the best time for us because right now in LA it is 2 p.m. on Thursday. And you might want to leave a comment in the comment section. Say g'day, let us know where you're from. Ronnie's already made a comment there. G'day Ronnie Stone, nice to see you, mate. If you're in New York, it is 5 p.m. on a Thursday. You would be coming towards the end of your working day. I hope you've had a great day. If you're in London, UK, it is currently 10 p.m. It's a bit of a late one over there, and hopefully if you're still up, you're able to catch the show. And then finally, the people that are ahead of all of us are those in Auckland, New Zealand. And I want to say good day to all of my friends across the ditch. I hope you're all, I hope your day has started well because it's 9 a.m. over there. But yeah, make sure you leave a comment, say good day, tell us where you're from. And while you're at it, you can also use, let me just bring up some stuff here to show you. You can also use the hashtag Voice Essentials to add to your tweets, and then what I can do is show your live feeds, your live questions, your comments, appropriate comments, into the actual live show, and I hope you'll do that throughout the show. So make sure you add hashtag Voice Essentials to everything that you're typing. That way, hopefully we can add some new comments into the show. Really wanting this to be interactive. I'm really wanting this to be something where we can be engaged and really learn from each other and have some fun along the way. Just seeing some comments coming here from people from a person from Brazil. G'day, Victoria Sales. We've got someone from Spain, New Zealand, Timberland, AZ. Where's AZ? I wonder what AZ stands for. Let us know. But look, it's great to have you all here, and I hope you're going to enjoy the show. Okay, so without further ado, let's jump into the rest of the show.
Sound check. Check 1, check 2.
Okay, so I'm going to kick off every show with a news segment and just some stuff that I think will be interesting for us to all have a look at and talk about. Some interesting stuff. And if you've got ideas for the news segment, stuff that you want to talk about, stuff that you want to hear me talk about, then make sure you send me an email, singing@djarts.com.au, and we can bring it up on the show and talk about it. There's a couple of news items that I thought were really interesting, and let me just jump across to my page here. And this is really exciting news. For those of you who are vocal nerds like myself, this is the first time we've ever been able to, not me or us, but voice scientists have actually grown vocal fold tissue in into a petri dish, if you like, and so this is really exciting. This paves the way. Hopefully, the researchers are hoping that this paves the way for new treatments of vocal fold health issues, so things like vocal fold tissue repair. It's exciting, it's very new, but I'm really keen to see where this goes. As a person who works with two ENTs regularly and two speech therapists, where I'm treating voices that have been damaged either through misuse or just through life's little anomalies, I'm really excited about where this could go and what this could do, and what benefits it could bring to not only, I guess, damaged voice users, but also professional voice users, and what backup plans that provides us. So that'll be exciting. The second thing I just wanted to quickly talk about is some of you may have seen Mr. Michael Bublé has recently had to cancel a show. Now this is back in May, it's a bit old, but I wanted to just briefly talk about this because we wouldn't normally expect someone like a Michael Bublé, materially singing, being of a jazz pop idiom, for his voice to break down. And for those of you who've been following my channel for quite some time, you would know that I've talked about the Meghan Trainor's voices breaking down, and she had a vocal fold hemorrhage, of course Adele. But they're singing material where it's not an unusual thing that when the voice is, being placed under that amount of load for it to run into trouble, that the technique is absolutely solid. But I've also been adding these comments for quite some time now, and I think we as a singing community, as an artistic community, have a lot to learn actually from the sports space. And what I mean by that is, these voices are having to do a lot of singing. And the sports people have known for quite some time, since the 90s probably, that they know that the voice simply can't go on for as long, the human body needs rest. And during the 80s and the 90s, a lot of physical sports athletes, their bodies were breaking down. And so what we were getting with these scenarios where they started to realise, hey, we're requiring too much of the human body too often. I wonder whether we are starting to see not dissimilar things happening for our singers. Is the Michael Bublé, who's not singing really extreme stuff, but his voice is breaking down, is that due to the fact that these guys, their tour schedules, etc., are just too much? And so, there's nothing worse than being in the middle of a scheduled tour and having to cancel. Look, Michael Bublé is not the first person for this to happen to. It's happened to many people. It's happened to Christina Aguilera. It happened to Elton John back in the 80s. This has happened quite a bit. It's interesting to me that it often happens in the middle of tours. The voices are just not being given the opportunity of rest. It gives me the opportunity to say to you, always give your voice opportunity to have time down. And if you're a professional singer, I encourage you to have at least one day where you have relatively high levels of vocal rest. You're not using the voice a lot, you're using the time to have some time off there. Let's have a look at a few of these comments. Thanks for making all these comments, guys. We cannot hear because of the background music. Oh, is the music still going? Oh, well, that's my bad. Let's see if we can fix that. Has that stopped the music? Hey, I made the mistake, guys. I knew I was going to make errors straight off the bat, so hopefully that has fixed everything and you can hear me now. And that's it will never stop. It has stopped. I've made a check. The music has stopped. You can hear me. Hopefully that has fixed everything. I'm doing this as a one-man show. I'll give you a look from behind. This is me just doing it by myself here. So, oh, is that gone as well? I've got to get that music off. Keep the music off, everyone. I've turned the music off. And you can see that's me just all by myself. So bear with me. I am going to really work. I'll get better at this as time goes on. Thanks for your patience, everyone. Okay, so let's continue on. I want to do a new thing here, and this is going to be called Dr. Dan's Nerd Word. So the nerd word, in fact, I haven't got Lenny down here. Let me grab Lenny. So this is, everyone, let me introduce you to Lenny. Lenny is a 2.5 times to scale adult male larynx. And the reason I'm specific to gender is because an adult male larynx is, well, it's larger than an adult female larynx. A female larynx would be around about that size, and a prepubescent female male larynx is smaller again. So a good way to remember it: baby bear, mama bear, papa bear. The nerd word for today is glottis, and some of you have come across this word, whether it's been on my channel or other people's channel, and you may have wondered what glottis is referring to. In fact, glottis is actually referring to a space. Now we're looking down the throat here, and there are the vocal folds. This is the front of the person up here. So this is the front, and this is the back of the vocal folds. And what we've got here is the vocal folds opening in a very rudimentary kind of way. They don't really open like that, but nonetheless on the model it's what it does. And the word glottis is the term given to the space running immediately down the center of that opening. And so when we talk about glottal fry or a glottal attack, we're actually talking about, in the sense of glottis or glottal attack, where literally the vocal folds are attacking that line, that glottis. And so that's what the word is. For those of you who didn't know what the word glottis is, I'm going to hopefully tackle a new word every show, and hopefully unpack some of the nuances of the words that you are going to come into contact with as you have a look at different channels and subscribe to different singing channels and get into this singing thing. I hope we don't have any more music going, which is great. So let's keep moving on, and for this one, what I'm going to do is just move us across to let's see if we've got any comments coming in. Don't forget, everyone, you can put let me just jump over here, message feed. Don't forget, you can be putting your messages via Twitter. Just put a hashtag Voice Essentials to your tweet. Now, what I want to do every show is actually show you how to do or how to value add to the exercises on my exercise CD, which you can grab. There's links in the notes descriptions below. And the first one we're going to do is actually free on the website. You can just jump over there, download this for free. And I thought I'd just unpack it a little bit with you and show you how I do it with my private students, give you some insight into that. We're just going to do one every day. We're not going to take too long with it. But what I'll do with the first one, you're going to notice that I'm going to be bending. It's just a 5-note scale. ya. Okay? And so with the exercise, it's actually going to have, I'm actually going to be bending into it. Let me just take that Voice Essentials tag away. Cool. So we're just going to be bending into it. Now the reason for that is when we sing, there's a temptation for all of our activity to become focused on our neck, yeah? And for it to be what we refer to as laryngeally focused. And that's because this is not your voice, yeah? This is your voice. All of you is your voice. And so what we need to do is get all of you involved. And the way to do that is we're going to actually bend into it. We're going to go, ya. Okay? Now you'll notice that if I stand back over here, just to give us a bit of, I'm not actually standing flat on and bending like that. I've actually got one foot forward, ya. And I'm creating a nice firm base on which to stand. And the reason for that is I'm engaging my thighs, buttocks, pelvic floor, lower and mid-abs, the obliques, the lumbar, big muscle teams that run from my midriff all the way through to the bottom of my feet. And in doing so, I'm creating this firm foundation for the body to work on. Now, you might already jump to the thought of, yeah, but you can't be bending up and down on stage. Well, to a certain extent, that is true. However, if you think about a boxer, you know, the two iconic activities I think of when I think of a boxer are this. The first one is the speed ball, and I also think of Rocky when I think of, you know, skipping ropes and what have you. Two activities you never see a boxer doing in the ring. What are they about? They're about creating muscle response, muscle memory, getting the body to behave in a particular way. And so this exercise that we're about to do is about teaching the body to activate the entire system so the voice is not having to take on all the load. So I'm going to play the exercise just as you would do at home with the CD, and hopefully this all works for me. So let's get started. We'll commence with a 5-note scale with simultaneous. You might want to jump up and join with me at the same time. Hopefully the audio is all working. You to concentrate on your entire body. As you sing through the scale, take note of any tension. So we'll do a few phrases together, just to show you how we would do them by ourselves. Here we go. Ya. Okay, basses, take it away. Ya. Ya. Kicking it off with a y. Ya. Ya, 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 ya. Then if you follow the track on high enough, it'll cause you to go into transitions. Just a little tip with the CD, you'll notice that it starts the guys and it says, guys, we're going to kick off. It actually does get to a point where there's a lady comes in and her name is Renee, and she will then take the ladies on. But girls, you can actually start the track from the very beginning. You just start it an octave higher. And hopefully that's helpful. Think about your entire system. We're going to be doing a new exercise every time we come live, and just giving you some insight into how to use the exercise CD. We won't always do one from the CD. Sometimes I'm going to give you, something that I've seen someone else do or something I think is going to be helpful to you. So I hope you find that helpful. Leave a comments in the notes sections below to let us know what you're thinking. Don't forget the hashtag Voice Essentials. I've got an exciting thing to do now. I'm just going to jump back over to the flight seat, and we are going to welcome a guest onto the first show, and so just stick with me for just a moment. Hey, Scott. Scott, can you hear us, mate?
Yep. How you going?
I'm well. How are you doing?
Good.
I've got some issues here, mate. With different things, but we'll sort those out as we go. Mate, thank you very much for joining us here on the first ever live show. As we talked about, you came in here on Wednesday into the studio, and I just wanted to take the opportunity to firstly say thanks for coming on to the very first show. You're a brave man. But look, what I wanted to talk to you specifically about, which I thought would be of interest to the people that might find themselves watching today's show, is the idea, and I often get asked this question online, and that is talking about talent. And in fact, I was having my hair cut yesterday, and the young lady cutting my hair said, "Oh, yeah, no, I'm not talented at this thing called singing." And I said, "Well, the talent doesn't really, determine whether you become a singer or not." What I know you've got some views on this. So what are your thoughts?
Well, it's funny you say that with the lady and the hairdresser, because I think that everyone can sing and should sing.
Yeah.
But I never really saw myself as a singer so much. I would say that everyone put me in the box of you're a talented guitarist. But that talent didn't come from me just waking up and being born with a guitar and being able to riff out on a guitar. That came from hours of isolation rocking out in a bedroom,
Uh-huh.
And a similar thing with my voice. I actually got told a little while ago that they love my guitar work when it comes to my original music, but they don't think that my voice is there. And I said, that's cool, but the voice is a muscle, and it'll get stronger, and
Yeah.
I'll work it every day. So
Yep.
I have faith. I know where I'm going, and I have faith that I'm going to get there. And as soon as I said that, they've gone, "Oh, that makes so much more sense to me since you said it's a muscle." And yeah, I'm with you. I want to see you go through this journey. So I don't know. I think that like even Will Smith says, he doesn't see himself as naturally talented at anything. He just thinks he has sickening work ethic. And that's what it comes down to. I think you're being talented can sometimes be a hindrance, because you can start ahead of people and then you put in less effort. But if you're behind people, you feel like you need to catch up, so you work a bit harder, and that develops good habits of hard work.
Yeah. That idea of work ethic, that's the big one I think that most people don't account for. And I have to say to you, you have, which is why I wanted you to come onto today's show, it's your work ethic that I find to be just, almost off the charts. You're so dedicated.
Awesome.
what do you think drives that? What's driving your work ethic?
I don't really know. I think it's probably because I know I decided what I wanted. I made a decision. I said, this is what I want to be, and I know what's required to get there. So I just keep on working at it. And I think it's gotten to a point where it's not like I'm forcing myself to do it. It's kind of like it's habit now, because I did those initial few days of just working at it every single day and chipping away, that it's just what I do. So human beings, being habitual creatures, when we get into that habitual state, we actually feel more comfortable doing that.
Yeah.
So I'm more uneasy. Like yesterday, I didn't get to do much practice at all, and I was more uneasy because I didn't get to practice.
So what sort of level, and like I've been indicating, I want to keep today's show short, so we're going to have to wrap this up. But what sort of practice regime are you putting into place currently?
For my vocal practice, I try to have a day off every week. This week I think it's going to be 2 days off, thanks to yesterday. But even if I do have a day off, I'll still kind of warm up my voice in the shower because I want it to, because I realize I'm going to be talking in the day anyway. So I want it to have that little bit of, warm up before I even start talking. So I'll start in the shower and I'll do a 5-note scale, and then I'll do a triad, and then I'll do some sirens, and then I'll just kick on to the Dr. Dan's Voice Essentials CD and just work up to whatever we've worked into, what we're doing in the one-on-one sessions, what lessons we're up to. I'll just work up to there and then stop, and then I'll take a break, and then I'll work on maybe some of my repertoire, or just depending what I need to get done is what I'll do next, really.
Yeah, awesome.
But religiously, the scales are done religiously, so the voice essentials ones.
Yeah, and you just cannot discount how important that religious, structured practice is. It's the 10,000 hour rule. How do we become experts in a field? It's the 10,000 hours. You just got to put in the time. Yeah. And it's like you just said before, sometimes talent can actually be a bit of a hindrance, and that's certainly been my observation. Talent can certainly make the going a little easier for some, but equally, I just concur with you. And I really endorse people jumping across. I've put a couple of links to your Facebook page and to your YouTube channel down there in the description. So everyone jump across, have a look at Scot's stuff, and he's forging a path of his own creativity, and he's an emerging artist that this is what I love doing. People often ask me, who is it famous that I've taught, and I've taught a few famous people here in Australia, but actually that's not where I get my buzz. I get my buzz from working with ones like yourself, Scot, and emerging artists, people who are right out on the edge of creativity, and they're really, pushing themselves to achieve the absolute full potential of their own voice. So, mate, thanks for coming on to today's show, and I hope people can jump across and have a listen to some of your stuff. Right now, what we're going to do is we're going to get into the next section, which is a live song review process. Let's see if I can bring this up correctly. And so today's, what we're going to do is every live show we are going to do, I want to review 2 songs. Before I jump into today's 2 song reviews, I want to tell you, you can participate in this. So if you have got a live recording of yourself singing, it only needs to be 2 to 3 minutes long, because I'll only ever use around about 1.5 minutes of it. It can never have been on YouTube before. It's got to be something that we can use so that for copyright uses and all that sort of stuff. I am going to give you, and it's free. You just have to, send me the email, and there's some instructions in the description below. Send me some stuff there, and we will review your piece live here on YouTube. And I'm hoping that this little free service is going to be of benefit to not only the person who's presented and submitted their piece, but also I'm going to try and give some, whilst directed comment and feedback, I also want to give some generic insight into what I'm hearing and what the person might be able to do. So without further ado, the 2 song reviews that we're going to be having a listen to today are in fact a couple of students of mine. And the first one we're going to have a listen to is actually from our showcase back in 2014. This song is called Wolf, and it is being performed by one of my good students, Sammy Fraser. Well, we don't want that. We do not want that to have the music. So let's get rid of that. Why did it do that? Let's see if I can get this right, everyone. My apologies. Stick with me. I'm sure you're all having to be very patient with me on this one. Let's try it again. We might need to, I'll see if I can just go straight to song 2. For some reason, I'm going to have to get rid of that, delete that shot. No, we don't want that. Where are you going? Stick with me. I'm going to get this right. Okay, we'll try Sammy's once more and see if that's going to work for us. Okay, here we go. No, why are you doing that, you silly machine? Okay, let's try David's. We'll go to David's. David's is this is actually an original of his from our showcase in 2015, and he calls this song Survival Guide. I'm really hoping this is going to work. Let's see how we go. Okay. No. Everyone, I have no idea what's going on there. My greatest plans have been foiled. And I cannot for the life of me figure out why I've got those songs playing like that. And we are going to have to skip over that section, unfortunately. But I think hopefully you get the idea. That's terrible. Hopefully you get the idea of what we're wanting to do. And when I come live in about a month's time, Friday the 2nd of September, with our next live show, I will have figured that out. For some reason it's coming up with the song over the top of it, and we certainly don't want that. Unless... I think hang on a second, I may have figured it out. Let's give this a shot. Let's see if Sammy's going to come up. Hang on.
Oh, Mother, where you been? You look so worn, so thin. You're a drifter, shapeshifter. Let me see you run, say ah. Oh, Father, the door, you don't smile anymore. You're a preacher, day reacher. Let me see you run, say ah. Holy light, oh, burn through the night. Keep holding your spirit strong. Watch it grow, Jonathan. Keep holding on. When I run through the deep dark forest long after this begun, when the sun would set and the trees were dead and the rivers were none, I hope for a trace to lead me back home into this place. There were no sound, there was only me and my disgrace. Hey.
Okay, we finally got there, which is good. So Sammy is another emerging artist. She's a music teacher by trade, and I love having her in the studio. What I particularly love about Sammy's sound is she goes for a really folky, indie kind of approach, and you can see she's self-accompanying, obviously, which is a complex task. That's not an easy thing to do. And if you're a singer-songwriter who is also self-accompanying, whether it be on guitar or keys, never discount the challenge of the task that you are putting yourself through. But also look for opportunities to always step aside from your instrument and workshop your voice aside from just your guitar playing, because often when we're playing an instrument, it does cause us to zone in on what our instrument is doing, the external instrument, as opposed to our internal instrument, our voice. The things, and of course I've already talked to Sammy about these specifically, but there's a couple of things I think we can note with Sammy's performance. And the first one is, you will have noticed that her neck position, her body alignment, she kind of had a leaning in where the neck was coming forward. What that tends to do is it creates a lot of tension running through a particularly big muscle, the sternocleidomastoid, that wraps around the larynx and creates a lot of tension. And so we very much have worked with Sammy in bringing that back. Guitarists, you have to be particularly careful of this, because you'll get that leaning forward, that sort of position. And so because the guitar, the heaviness of the guitar and the strap running over your shoulders will want to lean you forward. You've got to really work on keeping everything upright. Otherwise you're going to work, especially if you're doing a gig of multiple sets in a night, you'll find yourself doing this all night and you wonder why you get to the end of the night and everything's nice and, not nice, and tight and crazy. And then the other thing that I talked to with Sammy on this piece was about stylistic landscape, and that is thinking a little bit more about some builds, some points, so that it's not just this consistently even flow of tone, that it's actually got some shape to it. And it's something that indie people have to be a little bit careful of, that you don't just have this sound, that there's actually some shape to it. Give it some build, give it some color and contrast. The human ear needs change. It needs, even if the change is subtle, don't allow it just to be constant, through the piece. Otherwise you'll have your audience just starting to nod off. So let's have a listen to the second piece now. This is David Costello. Again, this is his original piece called Survival Guide. And this was done last year, 2015. Let's have a listen.
Holding my heart, holding my head. One of these days I could end up dead. Putting myself in the line of fire. Been lucky so far, stayed on the wire. Must be crazy to do the things that I do. Must be crazy, are you crazy too? Don't look down, it's too far to fall. Put my back up against the wall. Keep that key in a pocket tight. Walk through fire, through the longest night. Scrape the food right off of the walls.
I love original music. I think it's we don't hear enough of it, unfortunately. I think there's this elitism in music these days that's crept into music, and it's very hard to get original gigs, and a lot of people just want to hear covers. But I love seeing people write original music. So David, well done. David's just actually released his first ever album, which is very exciting. He's had a big sea change, and he's written this album, which is getting actually a bit of airplay here in Australia, which is fantastic. Now, the one thing that I talked to with David on this, you'll notice that the area that I think David can really work on, and in fact he has, because we've spent the last 6 months workshopping this very thing, is narrow vowels. Now, with contemporary voice, certainly the nows do tend to be that little bit more narrow than a classical voice. So, ah is a classical, ah is contemporary. Now, but you can hear that there can be a temptation with contemporary voice to become really narrow. Ah, so you get this sort of boxy kind of feel. And we've got to be really careful of that. And you could hear with David's performance, there was a boxing in of the vowel shape. And we've worked on just getting that little bit more space. We do that by looking for a little bit more shape at the back of the throat. We certainly don't want that classical sort of position, but we do want to have a good activity at the back of the throat and really make sure that you're working for the vowel. Boxy vowels tend to come from lazy articulation, lazy vocal tract shapes, and so we've worked on getting good sense of shape. We've done that with some neutral jaw activity, and I do happen to remember that I've got a neutral jaw exercise on the Voice Essentials website, which channel, which you can go and have a look at. So we've worked on that. And then the other thing that we've worked on with David is you've got to be really careful with the length of your phrase. A good friend of mine, Kim Chandler, once said to me, Kim's a voice coach in the UK, fabulous voice coach, and I remember her saying to me once, you know, the difference between professionals and amateurs is phrasing. And so we've worked a lot with David on the sense of his phrasing, because you'll notice that in the verse we had these really clipped, very consistently short phrases, and then we got to the chorus and there was this long phrase. And what we can do is mix that up a little bit. Don't always have this cookie cutter position phrase where it's really short and tight, and always make sure you are taking the opportunity to what's the right word? Mix it up a little, vary it. Again, it's like we're talking about with Sammy. Give the audience's ears some variety. Don't be ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Create a little bit of variety around it, and that'll just create a little bit more interest for your audience. So hopefully that gives you some insight. We finally got there, didn't we? Hopefully that gives you some insight into what the live song reviews are going to be. If you would like to participate, there are some instructions below. You send me an email via live-reviews at djarts.com.au. Send me an email. I will then respond with a detailed email of what it takes to be involved and how we go about it. And we do it via Dropbox. And then if you're successful in your submission, you'll be a part of the next show, which again is going to be Friday the 2nd of September. So put it into your diaries. We have come to the final section of today's today's live show, which is Q&A. Okay, so here we are. What I want to do with this section is actually just quickly go through some of your comments that you've been leaving on the video, and jump in here and just see if I have any questions that I can quickly answer. Music is, yes, the music was too loud at the beginning. Thanks for being patient with me with that music at the front end. As I said, I'm learning as I go. We're going to get it down to a nice fine art. I always knew the first show was going to have some teething issues, and we did. We cannot hear you, blah, blah. Getting down to where are we? Where's some questions? Much better. We got any questions here? Make sure you type some questions in. Here we go. Edwin Myers. Dr. Dan, the big question is, as always, sore throat after singing and singing high notes. Well, firstly, and I've got a video that recently went live on this on the channel. Learn to distinguish the difference between sore throat and fatigued throat. Yeah, muscles fatigue with use. That is our biological lot in life. What we want to be careful of is that soreness doesn't become, that fatigue, that tiredness doesn't become soreness. And it's learning to differentiate between the two. And like the old song says, there's a fine line between pleasure and pain. And so learning to distinguish between those two is important. If you are getting to the point where your voice is sore after you've been singing, Edwin, it's possible that you are pushing beyond a point of fatigue and you are driving the voice too hard for too long. Now, of course, if you've got multiple sets over multiple nights, then you've got to keep going. So it's learning to work smarter, not harder. Don't find yourself driving the voice. And it all comes back to it comes back to breath pressure. Yeah, if you are finding yourself having to push and push and push, and the further you get into the night, the harder you're pushing the voice, the more opportunity you are going to have for fatigue to set in, because the muscles are being loaded up with too much subglottal pressure, too much pressure up underneath the larynx, and that's going to cause you some challenges straight off the bat. Okay, let's come down here. Hopefully that helps. Edwin, get a couple more questions. Yeah, I get a few people asking for free Skype lessons. No, we don't. I don't do free Skype lessons. You do have to pay for Skype lessons, but that's why I'm doing this show, is to hopefully give you some further free content to what I already do on the Voice Essentials channel. And if you do want some free feedback, then join the live song reviews and take advantage of that. What else have we got? How can improve the twang? Improving twang really comes down to muscle response. Twang, for those of you who don't know, I refer to twang as a clear, focused resonance. And that clear, focused resonance is caused by the activation of a muscle. It actually sits, we'll grab Lenny here, the activation of a muscle that sits around the edge of the epiglottis, and it's often called the twanger, and it is able to bring the epiglottis into a halfway close, which creates a space just above the vocal folds called the laryngopharynx. And it's the exercising of the twanger, the aryepiglottic sphincter, that creates that resonant space. Typically we use NG, and I have a couple of exercises on the exercise CD that you can use to really workshop that. The one key thing with that is be very careful to not over pressurize the twang. There has been a movement away from NG exercises by some singing teachers, because if you're doing it incorrectly, you can find yourself over pressurizing the voice, and it can create too much constriction. Well, that just simply means you've got to learn to do it with less pressure. And for the way I teach, for my mind, that's what we should be learning to do anyway. Have far more efficiency in our breath flow. So I think we're going to call it a day there. I hope that's answered some of your questions, and I hope you've enjoyed today's show. I want to say thank you for tuning in. For those of you who have stayed with the show the entire time, I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's, as I said, we were always going to have some teething issues, and I had that audio thing at the beginning and then in the middle, but we're getting there, and I think I know what I've done wrong already, so we'll be able to eliminate that for next time. The next show is going to be the 2nd of September, and I really hope you can join in. Let your friends know, let your fellow singers know, and invite them along. I love what I'm seeing in the comments section. Thanks for participating in that way. And for the most part, thanks for the way you've all conducted yourself. One of my nervous sort of things about doing a live show was really kind of what would happen in the notes sections, because I've observed other live shows, and some of the comments can be a bit dodgy. So for the most part, thank you for the way you've all conducted yourself. And don't forget to hit like if you've liked the show, and maybe take an opportunity to share the show onto your social networks if you get the opportunity. But for now, I think we're going to call it a day. And as I say, as all of you know, I say at the end of every live show, my name's Dr. Dan. Sing well.